real reason why I decided to start rapping. I just wanted to better my life. I wanted to do something.
Genuine justification for why I chose and begin rapping. I simply need to better my life. I needed to improve for my life. Not just time cash is ideal for your life. Mace, one of the early endorsers to Terrible Kid Records, has reliably communicated his conviction that he never got the legitimate profit from his universally perceived tunes. Comparative opinions were additionally shared by Craig Mack in regards to the pay he believed he was owed. They should give you enough cash. And I go to the studio, and I begin banging out, so it came to me and resembled, yo, I can trim you 33% of the cash. I should give you consistently. Every individual from the record mark started unveiling in their meetings that they also had never accepted their full income, and at times not even 50% of the aggregate sum owed to them. To some degree, free endorsed to myself, put out music, and put my specialists out openly. Even big deal. The name's dearest craftsman and maker Harvard questions about accepting his legitimate income anyway. For his situation, the circumstance varied, as he was so charmed in his work that he probably won't have acknowledged he was being denied and exploited by the mark. This is the thing quality arrangement said about this present circumstance, a business-type circumstance. Yet they were cool. Yet Puff had looted huge. Yet who was behind this multitude of treacheries against the name's craftsmen who never accepted their legitimate duty, or when they did it missed the mark concerning recognizing their persistent effort. It was, in all honesty, the pioneer behind the mark organization, Diddy himself. The most importantly is there has been pessimistic promulgation put out about me, that is, false reports have demonstrated that Diddy never designated the eminences to the specialists of Terrible Kid Records, and a critical number of specialists were denied their distributing privileges in the first place. How about we dig into Mesa's case, as he was among quick to expose this issue. Yet assuming it comes to getting monstrous, where someone will be attempting to kill me, I must accomplish something first. It's generally recognized that Diddy bears liability regarding the destruction of awful kid records, and the narratives of the named specialists are notable. A few craftsmen depended on exceptional measures like tossing seats to break liberated from the mark, while others confronted lawful difficulties and detainment. A couple of stars wound up in religion, and after some time the name procured a standing as the awful kid. Revile, where joining the program frequently appeared to prompt a descending winding. Yet, going through this multitude of disturbances, not a single one of them at any point caught the natural product. Clearly he was the Uber star, and I was remarkable new. So you know it will be a show. Yet he utilized that to lost me. Like you realize it was horrible. Mace was normal to ascend as a huge star in the herb scene, as well as in the more extensive rap industry. Consequently, it was a shock when he proclaimed his choice to leave rap and seek after a profession as a minister, particularly given his graph beating accomplishment from 96 to 99. His surprising takeoff from Terrible Kid Records energized serious hypothesis and debate. How could it be that a 19-year-old rapper can awaken one day and pronounce, you understand what I need to escape this, and become a clergyman in 1999? Mace, whose original name is Artisan Betha, made the declaration that he was leaving from awful kid diversion to lay out normal services, an abbreviation connoting saving a country jeopardized. Following what he portrayed as a significant experience with God, he embraced the title of Pastor Mace. He additionally guaranteed he was driving individuals, companions, children, and others down a way to damnation, expressing that he left to track down God in his heart and follow him in the event that Satan can utilize him forcefully. And I believe you should realize God could utilize me forcefully. As a matter of fact, it's said that when Mace was at the level of his vocation, driven by the outcome of his collection Harlem World, he uncovered this change to a radio questioner. I felt like I had large chunk of change, yet I didn't actually have the foggiest idea who I was. I realized I needed to accomplish some different option from hip jump anyway. There are some who stayed dubious about the explanations for Mace's flight, Leaving an agreement with Diddy and Awful Kid Records was not a simple accomplishment, as Diddy was known for keeping specialists finish paperwork for expanded periods, and afterward Puff showed them he resembled Yo. "I'ma show this he believe I'm playing with him." And afterward Craig was shunned from Terrible Kid. In spite of not getting any eminences for a very long time, Mace got back in the game with his collection, invite back under the Awful Kid mark anyway. He later communicated a restored want to leave, and surprisingly, figured out how to protect a meeting with Puffy. During that interview, he officially mentioned to be set free from his agreement is True Your Kid is Opportunity Bird. Hello Pal in 2016 Mace got back in the saddle during a Terrible Kid Records visit and burned through no time in freely censuring his previous supervisor. Following this episode, he took to Instagram for a live meeting to give a clarification of the conditions encompassing the conflict when I see the hurt and the torments of others on Terrible Kid that persuades me to say something so I don't am to be considered as an individual pack of cash and choosin' to disregard in spite of Diddy conveying an ardent discourse at the Grammys. It created the impression that pressures never genuinely died down among him and Mace, as the last option continued his analysis of Diddy said Believe It or Not hit bounce has never been regarded by the Grammys. Dark music has never been regarded by the Grammys to the point that it ought to be, while numerous performers could connect with Diddy's words. Mace was not among them. In a now erased Instagram post, the rapper voiced his complaints about the uncalled for treatment he had persevered under the administration of Terrible Kid Records. Label head, your previous strategic policies purposely has proceeded with deliberately starved your craftsmen and been incredibly unjustifiable to exactly the same specialists that assisted you with acquiring that symbol grant on the famous Terrible Kid name. In a new appearance on the $1 million worth of game digital recording facilitated by Flounder, and Gilly the Harlem World rapper dug further into his viewpoint, making sense of how he accepted Puff had hindered his vocation development and denied him the monetary pay. How puffed piss you the __. Off. Flounder asked Mace, "I felt as I accomplished more than I got credit for more than whatever I got compensated for." He shared on the Delivery digital recording. Mace's most immediate reference to Diddy is the point at which he raises Diddy's new name change to Sibling Love. Since K-Noble, I'm ready to contain love. Don't take my change your name. Mace raps individuals started to estimate that this rap was focused on Diddy and proposed an association with the paranoid fear that Diddy was engaged with the killing of infamous Enormous for monetary benefit. Separated from Mace, different performers who were once endorsed with Diddy have additionally decided to abandon their music vocations, and on second thought center around their strict convictions. The inquiry that waits anyway unequivocally provoked this shift. What did they witness or experience that drove them down this way? You at any point saw how a ton of ex-Awful Kid craftsmen hurried to some kind of religion. Subsequently, what is your decency, Oak? And what are you doing now? Exemplary wowed the main craftsman to deliver music under Terrible Kid Records was Craig Mack. At first it appeared as though Macintosh's profession was on the ascent, yet it ultimately took a slump. A few cynics accept that his profession was ill-fated from the very beginning, frequently highlighting Diddy's disclosure of the infamous large as a huge element, albeit the specific reasons stay obscure. Theory even recommends that an endeavor was made on Craig's life. Because of these conditions, you know, a moron, and stay here and do everything for everyone, and I won't see a single thing from it. A less popular yet fascinating reality about the craftsman previously known as Mrs. is that he had a low capacity to bear garbage. This assumed a part in his choice to leave the music business and look for a more profound association with God. In an as of late uncovered interview, Craig Mack shared his experience of an arrangement turned out badly, which started with a danger and might have finished in misfortune in the event that he hadn't gotten a convenient internal calling from the master, and like them for reasons unknown, He told Craig Yo, in the event that you don't fire your director, you can't work for Awful Kid. In that frame of mind, with early evening music shared by Vlad TV Mac, described a circumstance where an anonymous individual urged him to make one more collection. He consented to the task and offered a low cost for his administrations. They started the venture in Macintosh, had proactively begun recording tracks when the individual informed him that they could give him 33% of the settled upon installment